I'm Antonio Menendez. I've been teaching art at Central. This is actually my 17th year, to think about it, teaching at Central Hardin High School. I've been teaching for 20 years in Hardin County schools. And through that, I've done like a lot of things, but like Central's been 17 years, a big gist of like teaching high school art. We've done a lot of things in the classroom. Things have changed, got different over time, but I think the biggest part of art, I feel like, and if you've listened to the interviews of the students, is it's become very much an outlet for students, where it's a place where they can relieve stress, get feelings out, and be able to like have inner dialogue with themselves, depending on like what kind of artwork and what kind of piece they're working on. So I feel like it's almost like a therapeutic thing now, because it's so different than everything else they're doing today. And it really makes them have to like be focused in one area or on one piece for an extended amount of time, which compared to like other things that go on today, that's a lot different than what they're used to. So I feel like there's a big place for students now. So Central, we have it set up to where you take kind of like an introduction classes to art, which is like Art 1, and Art 2, which really focus and hone in on developing skills and abilities and traits as an artist, and being able to use different mediums and different techniques to then slowly, by the time you're a junior or senior, you're able to start using those techniques and those skills to become like a proficient artist, and maybe start creating pieces that deal more with you yourself, instead of just like being from direct instruction from the teacher. So by the time students get into Art 3 and Art 4, they're either doing individual mediums where they're focusing on one type of material, or they're doing like portfolio pieces and studies for colleges and scholarships and all kinds of things like that. I think the biggest change, and I wish it was something that was around when I was a kid, is not as much the materials that have been the biggest leaps and changes. There's been some stuff in that. We do have 2 digital pieces that were drawn on the tablet in this show, and in the one from last year we had a few in there as well. But I think the biggest thing that's helped a lot of our students is now access to things on the internet that give them instruction outside of what I can give them too. That you have so many artists that you can follow and watch and see how they make their art, that it's allowed students to get skills they wouldn't have gotten before in the past. Like before, I was completely relying on like what I could show them, but now I can pull in other artists and what they do and show them how they do things, as well as stuff like how I do things or interpret how they do things. For me as a teacher, there's like a satisfying part when a student finishes a piece and they finish it at a high level, and to see what they've accomplished. I think the best part of being an art teacher at a high school is because it's an elective course, and not a lot of teachers get to see a student progress in an individual field all the way through high school. So for instance, a teacher may have a kid for a semester in math or science or English, but they may not ever see them again in school to see how they progress, like writing style or mathematically, or in science, like how they progress in that. But when they're in the art class, I can see their work a lot of times that the kids really enjoy the subject matter from freshman year and how they were as a freshman to how they end up as a senior, and see that progress and look back at it and say, like, I remember how they started and now I see how they're like ending on the way out. So that's really interesting. This semester's been really neat because it's not the first time I've had it, but I had like a few foreign exchange students, and it's just been kind of neat having a student who came in who I hadn't had before. When they came in, they're like, I can't do this stuff, but they've progressed where like, oh yeah, I can do this stuff. And it's just a matter of like being willing to try things. So our art show, this is our second art show since COVID stuff. And this year we're gonna do 2, because last year was the first time we did one, and we did it in the spring, but then like some of the students that had the fall classes and the early winter classes didn't have a chance to put pieces in. So this time we decided to do one before winter, and then we're gonna have a second one for kids we have later in the school year that'll happen around springtime, like late April. And this just gives students the chance to have their pieces out, not just like in front of the classroom, but in a place in the school where other people can see the artwork. But also we invite parents to come and see some of the products that the students are making themselves in the classroom. And so they can meet with me, and they can meet with the other art teacher, and they can meet, and the students can kind of like show like what they're actually doing in the classroom. So it's really interesting. And I think a lot, especially for juniors and seniors who are looking to pursue art after high school, it gives them a chance to have a piece in some kind of art show, to say that they've had a piece put in an art show, that so later on in college for applications and scholarships, they can actually list like, hey, I had a piece that was in an art show and the school was in, and all that kind of stuff. We actually are going to have a visiting artist that we're planning this year that's actually going to come with the kids, and we're going to actually create a mural piece. But this time, because of the construction at Central, we didn't want to do one that's painted on the wall that's going to get tore down. So this time we're actually making on these massive tarps that we can then frame and take down and put back up once it's complete. But that's still like in the air. We've just got the approval for it, and so we're waiting for like the final quotes from the artist to come down. But he's going to work with the students, if it all works out, and work on a mural piece that's going to be kind of like a transportable one that we can have up both here with the way the school is now, and then later on when the construction is complete. So art is really important to the student because I feel like it's the setting for the art classroom is very different than in other classrooms. It's all, since it's been its inception, it's a very project-based class. And it requires the students to learn how to be hyper-focused on an individual task for an extended period of time. And that's a challenge for students today. It also is a place where they can get creative relief, because they're, even when there's projects that has like a set rubric, like this is what you're supposed to make, just because there's a rubric set for every kid's project, it can look completely different within that rubric depending on their individual voice and how they do their work. And like before, like I said, I feel like it really is a stress reliever, because once you get focused into that project and start working on a piece, other stuff kind of like usually pushes out while you're doing that, and you're just kind of worried about what you're working on at that time. I decided to become an art teacher because there was a point in college where I could have became a full-time artist or go into education, and I just kind of reflected on myself, and I found that ever since I was a kid, I enjoyed not only making art, but showing other people how to make art. And so that just kind of fit better than just being individualized. And a lot of artists are very introverted, and I'm the opposite. So I like to be around people and talk in front of people. And so that being part of a social group is another reason why I chose to be a teacher instead of like an individual artist. So I have one student, she was at SCAD, and she graduated a few years back, and she's actually working for LucasArts right now, doing Star Wars stuff. Yeah. I have another student that's at Ringling right now and is doing stuff for Disney. So I've had sprinkled throughout the years a lot of kids who decided to like pursue this as a field, go into different art fields with it. I have a student now at Western who's going to be finishing to become an art teacher. So it's all over the place, from like students who, my very first year teaching at Central, one of my students just did a piece that's a permanent piece at Western Kentucky University. And so it's there like forever, that she like went here, went to Western, then did graduate work at Washington State University, became a professor, and then completed a piece that now is been put into at Western as like a permanent piece at their at the school. So that's pretty cool. The students on these works, most of these were like final projects for the trimester, And so I gave them most of them had between 2 to 3 weeks to work on these final pieces. And this was one where they took techniques that we had worked or developed over the whole semester and then worked with me to kind of come up with an idea of like what piece that they wanted to create individually using those techniques. And then they worked on that, give or take, between critiquing like 2.5, 3 weeks on just that one final piece for the show.
Hi, I'm Evelyn. I'm in 10th grade. And this piece right here, I don't really have a name for it, but it was a project we did in Mr. Menendez's class. And I decided to do a still life. And I had to add like a little focal point to it. So I did an orange and colored pencil, and the rest I did in pencil, but I added a bunch of blending techniques as well in that. My next piece is this garden painting. It was a garden at my grandma's. I also don't have a name for it, but I was sitting in the garden and I took a picture of it because I wanted to go inside. So I sat and I decided to start painting it, and I used acrylic for that. And then my last painting is also an acrylic painting. It was when I went to Cumberland Falls. I decided to do a waterfall painting over it because I loved how the colors all matched and everything like that. So a little thing about me, I really love doing art. Mostly because I find it as a stress relief. Anytime I'm stressed, it's something I enjoy doing. So it helps me like a bunch of creativity flows out of me when I'm stressed, and I can put it onto paper. And I also hope to pursue my art career in the future. I want to become an art teacher because I love helping others as well when it comes to art. And I just hope I pursue that in the future.
My name is Lindy Barnes. I'm in 10th grade, and this piece up here is mine. I did a mixed media painting with watercolor, colored pencil, and acrylic painting of my favorite teacher, Mr. Pearsall. He's my academic team coach, and I'm very close with him, so it was really fun to do this project. If you know him at all, he's very stoic and almost never cries. So I was really surprised when I found this picture of him crying. Turns out it was actually a Snapchat filter, so that makes more sense. But I just wanted to like immortalize that picture in this painting because you'll almost never see him like expressing any emotion in real life. The reason why I enjoy art is I like to make things for other people and gift it to them, and I just love seeing the smile on someone's face when I give them something like a portrait that they can keep forever. And I don't plan on pursuing it as a career in the future. I just want to keep it as a hobby.
Hi, I'm Cypher. I'm a junior, 11th grade, and this is my piece, and it is based on a song on the album 3 Cheers for Sweet Revenge by My Chemical Romance. And the story of the album is that this guy, his wife dies, and he makes a deal with the devil to kill 1,000 evil men to get her back. And this is based on the last song of the album, I Never Told You What I Do for a Living, which is kind of the end of that and him feeling all this guilt and regret that he couldn't save his wife. So I really wanted to make a drawing that kind of represented that song and the general themes of the album, and I think it turned out really nice. So I've always been really into drawing, and I just do it because it's fun and it's a good way to get my ideas on paper. and I definitely plan to pursue it in the future. Like, my dream job is probably to be a storyboard artist or character designer, because I just really like seeing my ideas brought to life, and drawing is fun. My name is Gianni Rucker, and I am in 11th grade. My piece is all the way up here, and I mainly made it because I am a big fan of a game series called Splatoon, and I really enjoy all the different character designs that they have and how they made each character look unique. I've drawn every idol group from every single game, and I just really enjoy the way they look, and I love the different themes that they were going with and all the color schemes that they used, and I just really like them as characters. I enjoy art as, you know, just a stress reliever, and I mainly do it to, like, you know, draw characters I really like from shows or games, and I just really think it's a cool way to express myself, and I think I might go into art as like an animator or a character designer when I get older.
My name is Kayla White, and I'm in 11th grade, and this is my first piece. This was a self-portrait that I wanted to do, and I had the option to do it in just pencil, but I really wanted to challenge myself and do a black paper with white colored pencil drawing because I wasn't super comfortable with them, and I really wanted to challenge myself with that. I think that it turned out good, and I'm proud of it. So, then my second piece. This is a picture that I found online that I just really thought was cute, and I wasn't super comfortable with portraits yet, and I wanted to do one, and then also I hadn't done a hatching piece like this before, and I wanted to do that as well, so I think that this was really just me exploring something that I hadn't done before, and I think that it turned out great, and I'm really excited about it. I really enjoy art because I think that working on a piece for a long time gives me something to focus on, and it really grounds me and pulls me away from the stress of everything else going on in my life. I definitely plan to take art classes in college, but I don't think that I will be pursuing it as a career.
I am Peyton Collins. I am a junior here, and my piece is this one up here. Originally, I like seeing people do take animals or people and add some sort of add mountains, and I really like the idea of water hair, and I wanted to do some sort of statue, so I kind of tried to combine it. So I added and I wanted to challenge myself because I'm not really great with people, drawing people or just people in general. So, and I also wanted to challenge myself on color because I'm not great at coloring either. So that's mainly why I did this whole woman. When I was little, I enjoyed cartoons, and I still do. I really like seeing people create characters and just create these awesome visual pieces of art. And I kind of wanted to do it myself, and I also I really love doodling to distract myself from any thing stressful or just life in general. And while I might not exactly pursue it as a job, I might want to incorporate it because I really like writing and I like creating stories. And I struggle with character, explaining what a character looks like, how they're designed. So I want to try and get to a point where I can just draw them without having to really explain their design and everything. And that's really why I want to improve and stuff, you know?
I'm Bree Clevenger. I'm a senior at Central, and this piece over here, I created it because it's supposed to be a woman. I created it because a lot of women face a lot of over-sexualization regardless of their age, so I wanted to portray something that shows like everyone is just skeleton. It means a lot to me as a woman who's dealt with being over-sexualized, and there's eyes all around it, as in everyone is watching your every move all the time. I used ink to draw this. I covered the black parts with Sharpie, and then I used a white gel pen to do the skeleton. The self-portrait I did in graphite only. I didn't use any other materials. That one was more of a fun piece. I don't really do portraits that much. I'm not really good at realism when it comes to people, so I don't like doing portraits, so I figured it'd be good to try to do a portrait because I don't typically enjoy them. So, and I think it turned out pretty good for not enjoying doing it, but it was a good learning experience. I've been doing art since I was in school, so I've been doing art since kindergarten. I've been in art classes since kindergarten. I would like to incorporate it into my future. I'm not sure if it's going to be my actual career pathway, but I definitely would love to do it like as a hobby still.
My name is Eleonore Biedermann, and this is my piece. I'm in 11th grade. So this is Baby Groot, and I drew him because my little brother really likes him, and he's like a big fan, and I thought that would be like a nice thing for him hanging in his room. So I'm an exchange student, and I come from Germany. I've been in the US for 4 months now, and I stayed the whole school year. I really like it though far. The classes are really different, but in a good way. I really enjoy my art class. It has been really challenging, but I also see the progress that has been proceeding from the beginning to where I am now. And I'm really excited to see where it's going.
My name is Abby Westcott. I'm a junior at Central. This is my Jim Morrison portrait. I did this with the grid method so I could focus on the different detailed parts of the piece and just make it look its best. I chose Jim Morrison because I really appreciate his music and his poetry, and he really inspires me to just be myself. This is my self-portrait. I drew it with the reverse shading method, which is a new technique we're learning in art. It's pretty different for me, but I really enjoy it. And basically it's just a black paper, and then I use a white pencil to just highlight the brightest parts of it. I chose this picture specifically just because I feel like it's very contrasted and it works well with the topic we're learning. I enjoy art because I feel like it's just like a free outlet. There's no rules. You can just have fun and express yourself. I'm not sure if I want to pursue art, but if I do, I might tie it in with psychiatry because I'm very interested in that.
Well, my full name is Megan Meredith, but the kids call me Miss Meredith. I am the second visual arts teacher here at Central Hardin. We are actually having the student art show, so we have 2 a year, and so this one is the fall one, of course. It's been up for a few weeks now, but we're ending it, so we're doing like an opening to the community and to like the family members of all the students. We do have some senior work, but most of the students that we have in class right now consist of mostly sophomores and juniors. In the art show, as you all I think might have already seen, we have a plethora of mediums. The students that you see behind me was constructed of recycled material. So it's a lot of like cardboard and paper, and I think some people even used like aluminum foil and like bottles and stuff that would have been found like in the trash somewhere. So they just recycled it. Everybody has their own sort of like style. And so not only are they pushing themselves with the different mediums, they're pushing themselves with different subject matters, and even like going into their own sort of like artistic freedom and style that they've chose that they like the best. So.